I just want to share a story with your audience about fear and how that might be able to help them. It's called The Story of Two Wolves. An old Cherokee told his grandson, "My grandson, there's a battle going on inside of you of the two wolves. One is evil. It is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, ignorance, self pity, guilt, resistance, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The other side embodies positive emotion. It's joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, empathy, generosity, truth, and compassion and faith." So the grandson took a moment to reflect on what his grandfather said to him. And at last, he looked up at his grandfather and asked, "Which wolf will win?" And the grandfather gave him a simple reply: "The one you feed." So that is a very powerful story. And what you draw from that, whatever you feed, that will grow. So if you feed fear, that will grow. But if you feed hope and faith, that will also grow as well. So fear will always be there, but don't feed it. It will not go away, but you do things in the presence of fear, and you learn how to get the courage and build up the courage to be able to do things in spite of fear and to learn from your failure. It's just feedback. That's all it is. And you learn from that and you grow from that.
The other day, I was interviewing an expert in theology, but in this case, we were talking about African spirituality. And it was very interesting because at the point, he was saying to me, because we were talking about the concept of God, what is God, and all the things, all the questions that some people think that they are very hard questions. You don't even need to bother about those ones. Why should you be talking about that? We know God created us, the Garden of Eden, and all the rest. Yes, fine. But we are human beings. We are here. Let us talk about it. There is nothing we cannot talk about. So he was saying that everything is possible. Everything is already there. All the things that you want to do is already there. It's just for you to manifest it. So what do you
100%. I
want?
agree.
Yeah. So what do you want to manifest? This now, of course, we also relate to what Walter Wallace was saying in his book, The Science of Getting Rich. And this is a book written in 1910. It's basically the same concept. The same element that God used in creating the world is available to all of us. So what do you want to do with it? So this is also in line with what you are saying, that, yeah, the both wolves are there. It's also, we can also go back to the Bible and even take it. You have life and death in your hands. What do you choose? So it's up to us at the end of the day. I believe that because sometimes by the kind of education that we are giving, the idea of limitation, of scarcity, of not that things are not available, we cannot get it, it's not enough for everybody, is too much into us. Of course, this is foiled by the kind of economy that we have. By the time we continue to reason like this, it appears to us that there is really not enough. But there is enough, that is too much. There is enough for everybody in this world. But what do we really want? Even though it is enough, even though it is there, even though it is available, you are going to be the one to choose. What do you want? All right, now you are a transformational coach, and that is already important in itself. But what does it really mean, a transformational coach? Help me understand that.
Okay, so transformational really means helping people to change their life, not just motivating them alone, but also giving them the tools and equipping them with the change that they need to make and the things they need to do to see the changes in their life and the results that they want in their life. So that's really what transformational means it's not just motivating and inspiring someone to and giving them information. It's giving them the tools for them to be able to take action, to see the changes and see the results in their lives. And there's different levels to the transformation. You go from one level to another. And I believe that you never stop growing and you never stop learning. And so there's different stages. You don't really get there and say, oh, I got it. It's not. So there are different stages and different levels to transformation. So you talk about awareness. So that's the first. The first step is really being aware that, as you said, that we live in an abundant world and all things are possible to them that believe. And so if you believe that you live in a world where anything is possible for you, and that all you have to do is really believe and step into that and go after that. And that's the first step in transformation, is helping people to realize that anything is possible. And once they see that, then the next step is for them to start making the necessary changes for that to happen. And then you go from one level to the next level and to the next level. But I agree with you. And I do believe that we live in a world where we live in an abundant world and all things are possible for us. But yes, with the way that we're taught and with the media and corporations, they want us to believe that we live in a world of scarcity and limitations. And I personally don't. I believe we live in a limitless world, and that anything is possible for us, and we can have. It doesn't matter where you are or where you're from, whatever it is that you want. And if you really believe that, you can have that, you can do that. But it's very challenging with to change that mindset with the world that we live in, that's constantly telling us that we can only do so much, we can only go so far, and that we can only have so much. So that's where my coaching comes in, where I help people to really change their mindset and the way they see the world that they live in, especially coming out of this pandemic and everything. For us, I don't know how it was over there. We were locked down for a very long time and inside and, by ourselves and not in community and being alone. And, all they're telling us on the television, it's so dangerous out there. You shouldn't go out there. And all this fear was forced to us, and that there's only so much you can do and all this limitation and everything. So I think it didn't help people to it really locked them down. And now people are actually realizing maybe they're wrong. Maybe it's not true. Maybe there's more. So people are being a little bit more open now to be able to discover, and that maybe there's a different path. Maybe there's something else I should do. Maybe I shouldn't be living a life where I'm just working a job to pay bills and die. Maybe there's more. Maybe there's something else. And even people that face death and came very close to that, they want to make the necessary changes and say, I want more out of life. And so, yeah, so it's transformation is taking a person, an individual, helping them, being there, supporting them through that process.
All right. All right. Yes, we really are in a world of abundance, but we live with the mindset of scarcity. If that is the situation that we are sort of trapped in that sense, how do we now move from the mindset of scarcity, of everything is limited, to the abundance mindset, where we can see a lot around us instead of limited? Help me with that. How are we supposed to transition from that limited mindset to abundance or around us?
Yeah, so it's getting to know who you are. I personally believe that, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and that anything is possible. Like, we're here just having an experience, and we can do anything. And so it's helping them to change that mindset that we're not limited to our minds. A lot of the things that we were taught, or that we believe we were taught, I should say, it's not that we know that this is true, and this is the way life is. So changing the status quo and going against that and trying something different and really seeing what can happen if you step outside of your comfort zone